Yes. Okay. So the quantitative data can be analyzed by using univariate technique, bivariate technique, and multivariate technique. So last lecture I discussed about the univariate and bivariate technique. Univariate technique means we analyze one variable. In a univariate technique, we analyze one variable. Example of univariate technique: one sample t-test, one sample t-test, median test, runs test, binomial test. So there are many univariate techniques. Second is bivariate technique. Bivariate technique means we are analyzing two variables. We want to find out the relationship between the two variable or association between the two variable. The example of bivariate technique: independent t-test and analysis of variance. So previous lecture I discussed all the bivariate and the univariate technique. Okay, now the third technique, that is, it is known as the multivariate technique. In a multivariate technique, we analyze more than two variables at a time, more than one variables at a time. And there are two types of multivariate technique. One is dependence technique. You can see here the dependence technique, and the second is interdependence technique. So multivariate means we are analyzing more than two variables at a time. For example, the multiple regression analysis. So the equation of multiple regression analysis is beta y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x 2 plus beta 3 x 3 and epsilon. This is explained part and this is unexplained part. So there may be possibility that all the three independent variable explained the dependent variable 60%, and unexplained means error term. The 40% unexplained means we did not include that variable. These variable can explain 40% also. Okay. So here in the multiple regression analysis, we want to find the relationship between two or more variable. It's a dependence technique. Dependence technique means, for example, sales, it is depend on advertising expenses. Okay. And sales depend on sales promotion. Sales promotion means discounts. And the sales also depend on the availability of the product, number of outlets, and so on. And there are many other factors influence the sales. So in a dependence relationship, our purpose to find out the relationship between two or more variable means as we increase the advertising expenses, our sales also increase. Okay, sales also increase. It means there is a sales depend on advertising expenses. So it's a dependence relationship, and we can test the hypothesis also. For advertising expenses, there may be two hypotheses: null and alternate hypothesis. So null and alternate hypothesis tell us whether this independent variable significantly contributing to dependent variable or not. If p value less than 0.05, it means advertising expenses significantly improve the sales. Okay, same as we can develop hypothesis for other variable, variable 2, variable 3, and so on. But in a the interdependence technique, our purpose in interdependence technique, our purpose not to find out the relationship between the two variable. Here our purpose is something different. In an interdependence technique, the purpose of exploratory factor analysis to identifying the factors And the purpose of this the exploratory factor analysis, data reduction and data summarization. What does it mean? It means we take large number of questions and reduce in a relevant questions and then club these questions and give the name. So the giving the name of the factor known as the summarization. Same as cluster analysis purpose different. We want to make the cluster a homogeneous cluster. So it's a, for example, it's a heterogeneous type of people. So we can create this many segment, and in each segment there is a homogeneity and heterogeneity among the other clusters. Okay. So today we will discuss the exploratory factor analysis. Now, first of all, we will understand what is exploratory factor analysis. What is the purpose of exploratory factor analysis? Why should we study the factor analysis? What is the purpose, practical purpose of exploratory factor analysis? So the purpose of the exploratory factor analysis, I told you there is the data reduction and data summarization. What does it mean, the data reduction and data summarization? Now you can see it's a very simple or common example. As a layman, you can understand the concept of exploratory factor analysis. So I told you the purpose of summarization and the data reduction. Data reduction means we take large number of questions, for example 40, 50, 60 questions, and then we apply exploratory factor analysis, and then we reduce many irrelevant variables and keep only the relevant variables. Okay. And then summarize and giving the name. So here you can see the A for apple and B for, because I am explaining it in a very common language. So I am taking this example to clear the concept. What is exploratory factor analysis? Now you can see the A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, E for elephant, F for football, G for grapes, ink pot, king, lion, and there are many A to Z. Okay. So here summarization means we club same nature of questions, and we give the name. Okay. Like the cat, one item, and in a factor analysis, item, variable, statement, question, all are same thing. Okay. The cat, the dog, and elephant, and then the same is lion. So these are the, you can see here the cat, I club same nature of items: cat, dog, elephant, a lion, yak, and zebra. Now question is, what should I give the common name? So it's a researcher choice to give the common name of these variables or items. So I give in the name the animals. All are related to this family, animals. Same as I club the same nature of questions like the apple, fruit, apple. Now you can see the here the 8 minutes. Now the other four items like apple, grapes, orange, watermelon. So what am I doing? I am just clubbing all the four factor and understanding the concept. I want to capture the underlying structure which directly cannot be observed. So all are related to fruits. So I have given the name fruits. It means giving the name known as summarization. Okay. Same as I club the same nature of items like ball, football, net, tennis, all are related to sports like hen, parrot, quail, rooster, and sparrow. Okay. Now the data reduction means, so we take a large number of questions in our EFA technique. Then now question is which one is more important? Principal component. What are the principal component? So for preparation of tea, we need tea, ginger, milk, water, elaichi, coffee powder. So now question is which one is more important? can you prepare tea without tea? No. So it is important. Can you prepare tea without ginger? Yes. So it is less important. Can you prepare tea without milk? Yes, we can prepare without milk tea. Can we prepare the tea without water? Yes. Can we prepare the elaichi, coffee powder? Okay. And there are many other variables or items also. So we through exploratory factor analysis, we reduce the data and take the principal component, main data variables. Okay. Now the question is here, our purpose in a factor analysis to identify. So I told you the purpose of exploratory factor analysis to identify the underlying structure. Underlying means which directly cannot see, unobserved. We want to find out the unobserved phenomena which cannot be directly measured. So I am taking the example. You can see the example of the exploratory factor analysis. Now the definition of exploratory factor analysis, you can see here. The exploratory factor analysis is an interdependence relationship, interdependence technique. It means we are not going to find the dependence relationship between two or more variable. It is not our purpose. So what is the purpose? To find out the main factor, to identifying the factors. Your research study may be to find out the prominent factors of buying behavior of eco-friendly. Then you can apply the exploratory factor analysis, because the purpose of exploratory factor analysis to identifying the factors. So whose primary purpose to define the underlying structure, the variable in the analysis. Because in a social science, we our purpose to know the underlying phenomena or latent phenomena which directly cannot be measured. For example, I go to the doctors. ठीक है, डॉक्टर के पास में गया, डॉक्टर, and I said to doctor, sir, I am not feeling well, please give me some medicine. Okay, I am patient. Okay, so can doctor give me give the medicine, give prescription to me? No. He will ask me, what do you feel? So I will say, sir, I have cough, fever, sore throat, stuffy nose, body, headache, chills, fatigues, more symptom. I tell to doctor, he is more sure to understand the underlying phenomena. But just observing me, he cannot identify which disease I have, unless I give some idea or symptoms. On the basis of symptom, swine flu. So if I give less symptom, I'm the doctor will be less confident. Okay, so same as to know the particular concept or construct. So the more questions in a basically our purpose to clubbing the same nature of questions. So here the more questions we can understand the particular phenomena more clearly. Okay, now the how to if you want to apply the exploratory factor analysis, now question is what are the stages. So we should follow the 6 stages to conducting the exploratory factor analysis. One is objective of factor analysis. What is the objective? Then designing a factor analysis, how to create the question for factor analysis, what type of data should you collect to performing the exploratory factor analysis. Now what are the assumptions? Now next is the driving factors. How many factors should we retain to explain the particular concept, that interpreting, validating, and additional usage of factor analysis result. What does it mean, additional uses? Because our purpose to create the factors. So I am taking 50 questions, and after taking 50 questions EFA, I obtained 20 questions. Then I will create or EFA will give us 4 or 5 component or factors like F1, F2, F3, F4, and each factor has 4 or 5 questions. So we club 4 or 5 questions and give the name, such as the apple, grapes, जो मैंने एग्जांपल बताया. So उन क्वेश्चन से what is the sense from these questions? So it's a researcher की choice है कि what should we give the name of the particular factor. So after getting these factor, now we can take the mean of these 4 or 5 questions, mean 4 or 5 questions, mean 4 or 5 questions. Okay, then we can use factor analysis in other dependence technique. So the purpose of factor analysis is to just creating the factor 4, 5, or 6. That's it. Now next stage, you can use this factor to applying the dependence technique like independent t-test. You can apply analysis of variance. You can apply the multiple regression analysis. So after getting the result, we can use these factors in different dependence techniques. So I told you the purpose or objective of the factor analysis. The factor analysis, the data summarization and data reduction. Okay, so data summarization means we club the same nature of questions, question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and give the name of this factor. For example, the factor number 1, factor number 2, factor number 3, and so on. Data reduction means we take 50 or 60 or 40 questions and then use EFA, and it reduce the number of questions. Data means variables. Data means here variables, variables or items or questions, all are same thing, or you can give the name statements. Okay, now the question is, what should be the sample size? If you are taking 50 questions from previous research papers, you are going through the literature review and you identify the 50 questions, and you want to know the prominent factors or through EFA. So what should be the sample size? Sample size should be 10:1. It means the 10 times of the number of questions or variables. So your sample size should be 500. If you are taking 30 questions, your sample size should be 10 times, means 300. Okay, and what type of questions we prepare? The continuous or metric data. So we do not use the questions related to nominal scale. We use continuous data. Continuous means our question should be either interval or range. Because in the previous lecture I told you, every statistical tool and technique has its own assumptions. So before applying any statistical tools and technique, we should check before analyzing the ANOVA, how to prepare the question for ANOVA. So there are two types of question. One, the dependent variable, and other independent variable. And independent variable should be categorical, and dependent variable should be metric, and independent variable should be non-metric. Okay, so same as in the exploratory factor analysis, all the questions should be in the metric form. Okay, now how to prepare our question? Like I will explain the concept of exploratory factor analysis through this case study. The case study, I am just showing you the case study, and now you can the case study. I am showing you the case study. This case study में now you can see the case study exploratory. एक मिनट. Okay, is it now can you see this case study? Is it visible to you? Please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. और देखो बेटा, ये केस स्टडी है, वेरी सिंपल केस स्टडी, और कहीं भी कोई समझ में ना आए तो तुरंत अनम्यूट करके मुझसे क्वेश्चन पूछिए आप, ठीक है? एक बार पूछिए, 10 बार पूछिए, इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। मेन है कि आपको वो कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आना चाहिए कि एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस हम लगा रहे हैं तो उसका पर्पस क्या है। नाउ इन दिस केस स्टडी the national company, okay, national company is a book publishing company. Each data set is assumed to be based on survey of national customer completed by personal interview. Okay, you distribute the questionnaire to the respondent and they fill the data, and in the questionnaire he researcher took 20 questions and filled by the 120 respondent. National sells books on two segment, education institutions and bookseller, and the information was perception of national performance of 15 attributes, because all the 15 question perception based questions, and the rating scale 0 to 10 scale, and 0 means if you are not agree with this statement, like national company uses online service. So you may agree with this statement or you may disagree, because it is your individual perception. If you think a national company use online service, then 0 to 10 you can give 8 number, or you can give 9. Okay. If you are not agree with this statement, you can give 1, 2. Okay. So it's a simple case study, and in this case study, the researcher took 20 questions, so we will use only 14 questions. Why 14? Because some questions are related to nominal data. So these questions like categorical data. So we do not use these type of data, categorical or nominal type, like yes, no, or mutually exclusive. We use all the questions in a either in an interval or ratio type scale. Okay. Now you can see the questions, how to prepare questions for factor analysis. So you should prepare questions like this. National company uses online services. This company provide e-materials to the teachers, PPT or other software. Paper quality of book is good. Complaint resolution timely by company, because this company wants to know the perception of buyers, what do they feel about the company. Okay, that is why they are conducting the research. Okay, so these are the questions. Now questions is, when you apply the exploratory factor analysis, how to select the questions. So all the questions based on conceptually valid. Conceptually valid means whatever questions you are taking from the previous research paper, all the questions are related to that concept. For example, you want to yes, you want to know the service quality of higher education, higher education, higher education uh, system or universities. May you want to know the service quality in a government university or private university or particular college. Okay, now you will take some questions from the previous research papers. The questions related to the tangibility, reliability, responsiveness. It's an original model. So this model, it is original model, and this model can be modified in different area. Like if you are if you want to apply this model in education sector, the model you can see the modified model EduQual. EduQual means education quality. If you if you are using this model in a bank, so some other researcher developed or modified that model. So the basic questions, your questions should be conceptually valid. You should take the questions like the tangibility. So tangibility question should be you can see the questions of tangibility. The up-to-date equipment, physical facilities are visually appealing, appearance of physical facilities, all questions related to tangibility. So the purpose of factor analysis, when we club these questions and give the name, the tangibility. Okay. same as reliability. So whatever questions we are selecting to conducting the exploratory factor analysis, all the questions based on the conceptually valid. Second is multicollinearity. What is multicollinearity? Multicollinearity means like beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 and so on. Okay, and so on. So the independent variable related or correlated with dependent variable. Independent variable correlated, highly correlated with dependent variable. Independent variable highly correlated with dependent variable. But independent variable should not be related to other independent variable. If x1 related or correlated with this x2 variable, it is a case of collinearity. If one variable related to more than two independent variable, it is known as multicollinearity. So it's a issue. It's an issue in multiple regression analysis. But in exploratory factor analysis, it is desirable. What does that mean, desirable? Because we are clubbing same nature of questions. So if we are clubbing same nature of questions and giving the name of the particular factor, naturally all the questions related to each other. So here in exploratory factor analysis, it is desirable. And second is the Bartlett test of sparsity. It's a assumptions. So its value should be significant. Measures of sampling adequacy, MSA, should be greater than 0.05. Now, how to calculate these things, I will explain. Now there are now you can ask me, sir, how to decide how many factor we should retain. So there are many criteria. One is latent root criteria. Second is priori criteria. Priori means in a previous research. For example, in a previous research, particular concept explained through the 5 factors, then you can decide, you can take 5 factors. And third is percentage of variance. Percentage of variance means the total variance should be greater than 60%. And the scree plot, scree diagram through scree plot and latent root, it's the same thing. So I am explaining what is the scree plot or the latent root. Latent root means nothing but it is eigenvalue. Eigenvalue means eigenvalue greater than 1. Eigenvalue greater than 1, treated as a factor, good factor. Jaise how many factors we should decide. So minimum cutoff value of eigenvalue is 1. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we should retain 8 factors in our study. Now, what is the eigenvalue? Eigenvalue nothing but the eigenvalue. It's a factor matrix. Eigenvalue. The first question related to this component 1, factor 1. It's a factor loading. Factor loading nothing but correlation between the variable and component or factor. It is simple correlation, and its value may be negative or positive. Positive means the relationship between complaint resolution and factor 1 is positive, and negative means the inverse relationship, the product quality and this component. So it is also desirable. Negative value also desirable. So in case of the demand, the sales of the commodity and price, as you increase the price, sale will decline. So it's a negative or inverse or reciprocal relationship. So this negative value tell us about the relationship of the variable and a particular component or factor. Okay, it is also desirable, but it should be high. I was talking about the eigenvalue. When we square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading, we obtain the eigenvalue. Okay, this is eigenvalue. When we square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading, it is known as cumulative. And cumulative value should be greater than 50%, 50% or 0.5. It should be greater than 0.5. Okay. And the variance extracted should be greater than 60%. So in our case, it is the 80%. Okay. Now the this is, yes. So मेरे ख्याल से समझ में percentage. Now the process of factor interpretation. There are three things: estimation of the factor matrix. So I discussed factor rotation. Now second is factor rotation. Now question is, what is the purpose of factor rotation? Why should we use the factor rotation? Factor rotation, there are two approaches. One is orthogonal and second the oblique. So we prefer to take the orthogonal because here the two axes move 90 degree. How the 90 degree move this? You can see the factor rotation. What is the meaning of orthogonal factor rotation? What is the purpose? So this is our y-axis, and the 90 degree you can see here, the x-axis, it is factor 1 unrotated, the factor 2. So when we do not rotate the matrix, these are our questions, variables v1, v2, v3, v4, v5, all are our questions or items or statements or questions simply. When we project here, its value almost 0.7 something, and in a x-axis it is almost 0.6. Now this particular variable giving high value factor 1 and high value factor 2. So the theoretically the one variable should be highly related only one factor. So these are the questions. Okay, so f1 one factor and f2. Now question is, if this variable v1 highly related here 0.6 and highly factor loading in here, so we cannot decide whether this particular v1 item will come under this factor or this factor. When the factor loading high across the factor, it is known as cross loading. It's a problem of cross loading, because I told you we are creating the factor like factor 1, factor 2, factor 3, factor 4. So we are clubbing the questions, question number 1, 2. So we cannot take question number 1 in factor 1 and in factor 2 also. We take one question only under the one factor. So it's a problem of cross loading. Now question is how to remove this problem cross loading. So we use the orthogonal factor rotation. We rotate the axis 90 degree. Okay, 90 degree. When we rotate it 90 degree, now you can see the v1 in a y-axis. It is y-axis and this is x-axis. It is highly related. Now after rotation, the purpose of the factor rotation to reduce the factor loading. Now in the factor, it's a rotated factor, so f2, it is giving very high value 0.9, and when I take this variable on x-axis, it is very less, 0.103 or something. So factor now it is confirmed that we will take a variable v1 under the factor 2. So this is the purpose of factor rotation, to remove the cross loading problem. So same as the other oblique method here, in this case oblique factor loading, the angle not 90 degree, it is less than the 90 degree. So it will act same as the factor rotation. By default, we use Varimax rotation. Now the factor loading, which factor loading are significant? What should be the sample size, number of factor, how to decide? So there is a table given by the Hare and Anderson. So this table given by Hare Anderson. So you can quote the result. Okay. So if your sample size, your factor loading, ideally your factor loading should be 0.714 ideally, theoretically, but it is not necessary all the time. sometimes less factor loading also important for our factor, the particular question important for the particular factor. Now the factor loading, if your sample size the 85, then you can take the factor loading 0.6. But as you increase the sample size, the low factor loading also desirable. So it's a cutoff value. Sometimes your factor loading, it's a cutoff, but you should not take less than the 0.3. Okay, it's a cutoff value, but highly factor loading value desirable for our study. Okay, now so then if whatever questions we are taking, it is not necessary all the questions are related to the particular factor. So we need to re-specify our model. We delete some variable from the analysis, and again we start the factor loading, and then finally we interpret the factor, examine the factor matrix loading, identify highest loading, assess community of the variable, and label the factor. Label means giving the name. Okay, in this example, so we asked perception based question. So in the we obtained three factors. In the one factor, complaint resolution, delivery speed, order, and billing. So it's a researcher choice to give the name. I thought all the questions related to customer service, so I summarize as a customer service. So I have given this factor name customer service. Now I under the factor 2, I obtained three variables: Salesforce image, online service, advertising. I thought all the questions related to marketing, so I have given the name marketing. But it's a researcher choice; you can give other name. And the all the three questions related to product value. That is why I have given name product quality. Now I am taking the case study. How to perform it? Just see the factor analysis. I'm taking the factor analysis. Yes. Is it visible? Please inform me. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना? अभी तक कोई, मैं भी इसको परफॉर्म कर लूं, कोई समझ में ना आया हो तो आप मुझे ना, मैं फिर इसके बाद आपको चांस दूंगा, आप मुझसे जो है पूछ सकते हैं. प्रवीण जी, आपको समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
ओके, थैंक यू. चलिए मैं इसको अब आगे स्टार्ट करता हूँ. देखिए कैसे हमें करना है. कुछ स्टेप्स हैं, हालांकि वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग आपको मिलेगी, और अगर आप कहोगे रिपीट करने तो कर दूंगा. कोई सबसे पहले हम क्या करते हैं कि ऑल दी वेरिएबल्स शुड बी हाईली रिलेटेड. ठीक है ना? कोरिलेटेड होने चाहिए. कोरिलेशन आप इसका फाइंड कर सकते हैं. कैसे कोरिलेशन फाइंड करेंगे? देखिए, ये एनालाइज द कोरिलेट एंड बाइवेरिएट. एनालाइज, इस वीडियो को बिल्कुल ध्यान से देखिएगा, और जब आप ये डेटा सेट भी आपको मिलेगा प्रोवाइड, और मेरे जो लेक्चर वीडियोज है ना यूट्यूब पे, उस पर डेटा सेट मैंने अपलोड किया हुआ, तो उस डेटा सेट को आप डाउनलोड कर लीजिए. ईएफ पे बड़े आसानी से आप समझ जाएंगे. ठीक है. नाउ एनालाइज, कोरिलेट एंड बाइवेरिएट. सो आई एम सेलेक्टिंग 14 क्वेश्चंस. सो आई वांट टू नो whether all the questions correlated or not. Okay, and then okay, and after okay I am seeing the result. So this, it's a result. In every column there should be star. Star means it means this particular variable correlated. Now you can see there are the star, 2 star, significantly related this variable to other variables. So, and you can see in this there are 2 variables, the variable number 12 and variable number 3 here in the there. It's a the lower triangular matrix. So it's a symmetric matrix, upper triangular matrix and lower triangular matrix. So I can see here the variable number 12 and 13 not correlating. ठीक है, अभी इसको मत हटाइए. अब मैं फैक्टर एनालिसिस परफॉर्म कर रहा हूँ. नाउ हाउ टू परफॉर्म इट, द फैक्टर एनालिसिस. देखिए ये तो डेटा सेट मिल गया. मैं अब आपको एक बार बता दूं. सो आई आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन. देखिए ये था, इट इज 0 to 10. 0 to 10. 0 मीन्स पुअर, and 1 2 3 and so on 10 तक है. So the respondent has choice to give opinion in points also, जैसे 4.20. ऐसा नहीं कि एग्जैक्टली 4 ही दे दे, हमने कहा कि भाई आप और मोर एक्यूरेटली यू कैन गिव योर ओपिनियन. 2.6 मींस लोअर साइड. ही इज नॉट एग्री विद दिस स्टेटमेंट. जैसे क्या स्टेटमेंट क्या है, नाउ यू कैन सी द स्टेटमेंट, सेकंड स्टेटमेंट, सॉरी द स्टेटमेंट जो है ये, the statement second, this company provide e-materials to the teacher, and the particular respondent, the respondent number 1, give the 2.6. It means he is not getting e-material from the company. And the third question related to paper quality of the book, and he given the opinion 7.9. It means the paper quality of this product is good. Okay. So in a vertically you can see the number of cases. So total number of cases, respondent 120, and the total questions 14 questions. So it should be 10 times, but it is desirable 8 to 10 times. It should be 8 to 10 times. So total number of questions 14. Okay. So the 8 to 10 times, sample size should be 8 to 10 times of the number of variables into number of variables. So it is more or less 10 times. So there is no issue of sample size. Now I am performing the exploratory factor analysis. So how to do it? Go to analyze, dimension reduction, and factor. And factor, select all the 14 questions simultaneously. Although I am taking only 14 questions, but when you apply, you may take 40, 50 questions. So for explaining purpose, I am taking less questions, a small case study. Now, so what should we do here? So press this button, descriptive and univariate, coefficient, KMO and Bartlett test of sphericity, anti-image correlation. Okay. So I ticked 5 options and then continue. After continue, okay. Now I can see the output here. So I'm just explaining the output. The first table related to descriptive statistics. What does it mean, the descriptive statistics? It tells us about simple the mean. The particular one question, the mean is 3.6. So we can get some idea about the national company use online services. It's a poor. This company provides e-material to the teachers. The mean is 5.3. It means mean means some total number of respondent 20. For example, respondent number 1 give the option 4, the other is 3. So we will take the mean. So it's a mean. Okay. The 7.855 mean. So we can get idea about the paper quality. It's a good paper quality. And the second table, the now you can see correlation matrix. Yes, it is important table. First is KMO and Bartlett test of sphericity. It should be, this value should be greater than 0.5. So it means the measures of measures of sampling adequacy, it is okay. 0.634, it should be greater than 0.5, so there is no issue. Okay, and it is significant. Now next is the next table, anti-image correlation. Anti-image correlation, correlation means correlation between the two variables should be high, but anti-image correlation nothing but mirror image, it should be low. Correlation should be high, but anti-correlation should be low. So it is good, minus 0.012. In the off diagonal, you can see all the observation very less. एक आध को छोड़ दे अगर हम. अब इस टेबल का पर्पस क्या है, एंटी इमेज कोरिलेशन का. Now you can see the principal diagonal. It's a symmetric matrix. Symmetric matrix means the lower triangular matrix and upper triangular matrix. But our purpose to find the measures of sampling adequacy, a 0.5. All the values in this diagonal should be greater than 0.5. It is greater than 0.5, greater than 0.5, greater than 0.5, 0.87 है, ये greater than है. तो कौन से वेरिएबल में हमें ये चेक करना है कि किसी में ऐसा तो नहीं कि 0.5 से कम हो। तो नाउ यू कैन सी दी, मैं बता दूंगा कौन से वेरिएबल में है कम। नाउ यस ये दी वेरिएबल नंबर, एक वेरिएबल मिल गया मुझे। नाउ यू कैन सी दी वेरिएबल नंबर, दिस वेरिएबल the value is 0.427, it means it is less than, and what is the मैं अगर देखो कौन सा वेरिएबल है ये, क्वेश्चन नंबर 6। so question number 6, the value of the measures of sampling adequacy 0.427, it is less than 0.5, and now the variable number 14, variable number 13, it is also less than 0.5. so 3 variables, question number 6, question number 13, question number 14, because the purpose of factor analysis, data reduction. so this is the one criteria, to reduce the number of variable. We will remove those questions whose measures of sampling adequacy less than 0.5. तो 3 क्वेश्चन हमने डिसाइड कर लिए कि we will remove, and the other criteria, एक और criteria देखेंगे हम। now the communities, the second is in the communities matrix, the communities, I told you all the values of communities should be greater than 0.5. so it is 0.79, it is okay, but this variable not it is less than 0.05, so we will not retain this question. it is okay, greater than 0.5. तो इसमें सभी क्वेश्चंस हम देखते हैं। नाउ ऑल द क्वेश्चंस ग्रेटर देन 0.5। अब मैं बाकी अभी एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर रहा हूं, पहले इन चारों क्वेश्चंस को हटा लूंगा। तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 2, क्वेश्चन नंबर 6, क्वेश्चन नंबर 13 एंड क्वेश्चन नंबर 4। सो आई एम अप्लाइंग अगेन, देखिए मैं इसको अप्लाई कर रहा हूं। ये देखिए, ठीक है। अब यहाँ पे ये क्वेश्चंस आ गए, मैं फिर से परफॉर्म कर रहा हूँ। तो ये डेटा रिडक्शन मैंने कैसे किया, एक तो कम्युनिटीज के बेसिस पर वी विल रिमूव ऑल दी वेरिएबल हुज कम्युनिटी वैल्यू लेस देन 0.05, ठीक है। और दूसरा क्या था, मेजरिंग ऑफ सैंपलिंग एडिक्वेसी। फिर अगेन परफॉर्म करूंगा एनालाइज, डायमेंशन रिडक्शन फैक्टर, क्वेश्चन नंबर 2, question number 6, question number 13 and question number 14, question number 13 and question number 14, and then again I will perform. Now the output of this, now you can see the output. Now the KMO value improves. Earlier it was 0.6 something, now it is 1 near to 1, treated as good. Okay, so there is no issue of KMO value or Bartlett test of sparsity. Second is, now you can check whether all the variables greater than 0.5 or not. In the principal diagonal you can check, it is greater than 0.5, it is 0.658, greater than 0.5, 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 greater than 0.5. It means all the variables measures of sampling adequacy greater than 0.5. So there is no issue. So we will, now you can check the community whether all the variables community greater than 0.5 or not. So there is no issue, 0.775, 0.642, 0.85, 0.57. Now you can see all the community value greater than 0.5. Now I come to the this matrix, the total variance extracted. Now here you can see the, so I think I did not use the Varimax rotation. चलो मैं Varimax rotation को मैंने सेट नहीं किया था, मैं इसको एक बार और कर लेता हूँ। तो यस, ये देखिए कैसे हमको परफॉर्म करना है, फिर से मैं एक बार और बता दूं। गो टू एनालाइज, डायमेंशन रिडक्शन, फैक्टर, डेस्क्रिप्टिव, ये पहले से हमने टिक किए हुए, कोई चेंज नहीं करना। एक्सट्रैक्शन, प्रेस दिस बटन, स्क्री प्लॉट, देन आइगन वैल्यू ग्रेटर देन 1, then rotation, varimax. Okay, why are we taking varimax rotation? Because we want to remove cross loading problem. And then scores, nothing to do here. Options में अभी मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ, अगले इसमें करूंगा। एंड देन ओके, अभी देखिए मेरे पास जो इसका रिजल्ट है वो मैं फिर से उसको बता दूं जो हमारे पास आया। यस, ये इस टेबल की मैं बात कर रहा था, टोटल एक्सप्लेन्ड। सो व्हाट वाज द क्राइटेरिया, हाउ मेनी फैक्टर वी शुड routine? The number one criteria is the eigenvalues, whose eigenvalue greater than 1. So the component 1 2 3 और बाकी के सबकी eigenvalue कम है, तो we will retain only 3 component 1 2 3. Second criteria was the percentage of variance. So it is 60, it should be greater than 60%, it is 73.1. तो ये भी कोई इशू नहीं है। ये कैसे आया? दिस, ये देखिए ये वैल्यू कितनी थी, 3.744, and how many component, 1 2 3 4 5 10, divide by 10 and multiply by 100. so क्या आ गया हमारे पास, ये 37.43%। सेकंड का कैसे करेंगे, 22.063 डिवाइडेड बाय 10 इंटू 100, ये आ गया 26 पॉइंट। इसको जब हम ऐड कर देंगे 37 प्लस 20, ये क्यूमुलेटिव आ जाएगा, क्यूमुलेटिव है ना। तो इट शुड बी ये कितना होना चाहिए, 60% से ग्रेटर देन। अब ये जो टेबल आप देख रहे हैं, ये वाली सेकंड टेबल, इट इज सेम अनरोटेटेड। ये ओनली we remove these cases 4 5 6, okay, and the other table it is rotation, varimax rotation. In both the table the cumulative percentage of variance same, ठीक है, ये इनका सेम है। now the what is the purpose of a scree plot, why should we create the scree plot? so scree plot, purpose of scree plot I told you, to select the number of variables, number of factors, okay, number of factors. now through this scree plot, so the eigen value should be greater than 1. so greater than 1, how many factor, 1 2 3, 3 factors हमने डिसाइड कर लिए, ठीक है। and now the component matrix means unrotated. the variable number 1, it is highly related to component 1, highly related to component 2 and highly related to component 3. maximum cases में हम देख रहे हैं क्रॉस लोडिंग, when one variable highly related more than one component, it is known as the cross loading. so यहाँ भी क्रॉस लोडिंग, it is high, ये वाला लिख लीजिए, it is high. तो ये how to remove it, varimax rotation. जब varimax rotation किया तो क्या मैट्रिक्स कैसे आ गया हमारे पास, ये देखिए। now the one variable highly related 0.87 and unrelated or very less related to the component 1 and very less related to component 3. देखिए यहाँ पे कितना है, पहला वाला ये जो वेरिएबल है कंपोनेंट 2 पे हाईली रिलेटेड है, ठीक है ना, 0.87, और कंपोनेंट 1 पे कितना, 0.036, इस पे 0.036। यही हम चाहते हैं कि कोई क्रॉस लोडिंग की प्रॉब्लम ना हो। अब यहाँ देखिए, तो ये ओके, दिस इज ओके, हाईली है ओके, दिस हाई, इट इज ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम, ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम, ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम, ओके, ओके, ओके। अब मैं आगे चलूं कि दूसरे जो मेरे क्वेश्चंस हैं, कहीं कोई क्रॉस लाइडिंग की प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है अभी भी। यहाँ देखिए, यस, इट्स क्वेश्चन नंबर 12, 0.482 and 0.742. मतलब आफ्टर very max rotation we could not remove the cross loading. So now we will remove this question and then फिर अच्छा एक चीज और है, ये अभी जो मैं देख रहा हूं, now you can see here ये इसमें हम क्या करते हैं कि जो ये मैट्रिक्स आर रोटेटेड, जैसे 0.982 इसको असेंडिंग ऑर्डर में कैसे लाना और जो रिमूव कर दें अगर हम तो वो कैसे करेंगे वो भी मैं बता देता हूँ। अभी तो सबसे पहले हमें क्वेश्चन नंबर 12 हटाना एंड देन वी विल परफॉर्म अगेन। ये देखिए मेरे पास आ गया ये। नाउ यू कैन सी हियर, go to analyze, dimension reduction factor. So I am removing question number 12, and then press this button option. So sorted by size means you can decide what should be the sorted by size means first of all we will take high factor loading and then the lower factor loading, इस तरीके से इसका ascending order में आएगा, and suppress small coefficient, so we will not take less than 0.6. तो ये हमने डिसाइड कर लिया, इट्स रिसर्चर चॉइस, मैंने डिसाइड कर लिया कि 0.6 से कम की फैक्टर लोडिंग हम नहीं लेंगे। ठीक है, अब मेरे पास देखिए आउटपुट आ गया, मैं इसको इंटरप्रेट कर दूं। ये एक मिनट, ये आ गया। सो यहाँ ये जो है व्हाट इज दी वैल्यू, देखिए इस तरीके से आ गया 0.92, 0.914, 0.9886 ये आ गया। ठीक है, अगर आप इतना कर लेंगे आप एक रिसर्च पेपर छपवा सकते हैं इतना ही करने से। अब इसमें हमें करना क्या है, इसका पर्पज लास्ट क्या, समराइजेशन, कि ये जो तीनों क्वेश्चंस हैं इस फैक्टर के नीचे आ रहे हैं, ये इसको क्या नाम दूं, जैसे कंप्लेंट रेजोल्यूशन, डिलीवरी, ऑर्डर एंड बिलिंग, तो मैंने इसका क्या नाम दिया था, कस्टमर सर्विस। देन आई एम गिविंग द नेम ऑफ दीज 3 क्वेश्चंस, सेल्सफोर्स, नेशनल कंपनी ऑनलाइन, एडवर्टाइजिंग, तो इस कंपोनेंट को नाम मैंने क्या दे दिया था, मार्केटिंग। फिर पेपर क्वालिटी, कंप्रोमाइज, वारंटी बुक्स, नेशनल कंपनी ऑफर प्राइस, तो इसको मैंने क्या नाम दे दिया था, प्रोडक्ट वैल्यू। बस यही काम होता है, इतना ही काम करते हैं हम एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस में, यही पर्पज होता है। अब मैं आपको थोड़ा सा अनम्यूट कर दूं और अगर किसी की कोई क्वेरी है इससे रिलेटेड तो वो पूछ सकता है, फिर मैं आगे मीडिएशन और मॉडरेशन पे आगे बढ़ता हूँ। अब मेरी पार्टिसिपेंट से रिक्वेस्ट है कि अगर वो कोई सवाल पूछना चाहें तो पूछ सकते हैं, और अगर आपको समझ में आ गया तो आप कहिए कि सर समझ में आ गया, आगे आप चलिए, या चैट बॉक्स में लिख दीजिए अगर समझ में आ गया तो। अच्छा, कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ गया ना, ठीक है रवि, श्वेता, और ये है रहीमुल्ला सफी, ठीक, अमित रंजन, आकांक्षा, समझ में आ गया ना, ठीक है। देखिए कोई अगर चीजें समझ में भी नहीं आती है, मैं अपना जो है ना मोबाइल नंबर भी शेयर कर दूंगा, जो है आप इस एफडीपी के बाद भी मुझसे जो भी आप अगर कोई पूछना चाहते हैं तो स्टूडेंट के लिए हम तैयार रहते हैं, ठीक है ना। इस एफडीपी के बाद भी यू कैन कॉन्टेक्ट मी, आप, मैं अपना ईमेल आईडी और जो है ये शेयर कर दूंगा, आप जो है कभी भी अपना कोई डेटा भेजना है मुझे व्हाट्सएप पे या ईमेल के थ्रू आप मुझे कांटेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं। तो जो कि कई बार ये होता है कि सर किस इस रिसर्च डिजाइन में किस तरीके के टूल लगाएं, क्या है, इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम आती है, ठीक है। अमित रंजन हमारे पुराने मित्र हैं एमएटी पटना के। अमित जी समझ में आ गया आपको?
जी सर, यस सर,
चलिए
जी सर,
ठीक, ठीक है, तो आगे बढ़ते हैं ना, अगला दूसरा कॉन्सेप्ट लेते हैं, मीडिएशन एंड मॉडरेशन। अच्छा, आइगन वैल्यू, ठीक है, ठीक। अब मैं, ये बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा है सिद्धार्थ ने, ठीक है सिद्धार्थ, मैं आपका जवाब दे रहा हूं, आइगन वैल्यू क्या। देखिए आइगन वैल्यू जैसे ये आप देख रहे हैं, यू कैन सी हियर आइगन वैल्यू मींस, जैसे एक जो आइगन वैल्यू का जो चार्ट होता है ना, वो हम इस तरीके से बनाते हैं। ये आइगन वैल्यू का आइगन वैल्यू, दिस इज आइगन वैल्यू, बेसिकली इट्स ए डिस्टेंस। ठीक है, तो खैर आइगन वैल्यू जैसे स्क्वायर ऑफ दिस फैक्टर लोडिंग 0.923 प्लस 0.914 प्लस 0.886, जब हम इसको स्क्वायर कर देते हैं तो हमारे पास क्या आ जाता है, आइगन वैल्यू। तो अभी हम देखेंगे कि हमारी आइगन वैल्यू कितनी आ रही है। जो अभी हमने देखी थी इसमें ये आ गई, इसमें आप देखिए दी आइगन वैल्यू इज 3.209। ठीक है, तो जब आप इनको स्क्वायर करेंगे, हालांकि मैंने ये इसमें जो लो फैक्टर लोडिंग है वो हटा दी है, तो आइगन वैल्यू बेसिकली व्हेन यू वर्टिकली, देखिए मैं पूरी प्रीवियस वो ले रहा हूं टेबल, यस दिस, ये आइगन वैल्यू मींस when you vertically square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading, सबको ऐड कर लेते हैं तो हमारे पास क्या आता है, इसको हम बोलते हैं आइगन वैल्यू। और ये क्राइटेरिया है कि अगर आइगन वैल्यू शुड बी ग्रेटर देन 1, अगर एक से ज्यादा है उन्हीं फैक्टर्स को हम रिटेन करेंगे। नाउ सेकंड इज कम्युनिटीज, जो मैं कह रहा था, कम्युनिटीज में हम क्या करते हैं, हॉरिजेंटली square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading, and this communities should be greater than 0.5 or 0.50%। अगर आप खुद घर पे कैलकुलेट करेंगे, देखिए मैं आपको बता दूं कि जैसे घर पे भी कैलकुलेट करके देख लीजिए, ये वाली जो वैल्यू है 0.03 स्क्वायर प्लस 0.872 प्लस 0.116, ये कुछ भी नहीं है। ये जो वैल्यू आपके पास आई है ना कम्युनिटीज की, ये है, दिस इज कम्युनिटीज 0.775। तो ये 0.775 कैसे आया है, ये आपका आया है इस वाली टेबल से, जब आप 0.536 को स्क्वायर करेंगे प्लस -449 को 0.5344। yes, importance of the प्रवीण, importance of communities, जैसे हमने बताया कि the factor analysis, the purpose of factor analysis, data reduction and summarization. So we the summarization means कि how many factors we should take in our study. So through the ये जो factors है eigen value, we decide if eigen value more than 1, we will retain those factors, and data reduction means कि how to delete the variables। भाई हम डेटा रिडक्शन कर रहे हैं ना, तो क्या क्राइटेरिया होगा, तो कम्युनिटीज, जैसे ये आप देख रहे हैं कम्युनिटीज में ये देखिए कम्युनिटीज, तो हमने क्या बताया था कि कम्युनिटीज में जिसकी वैल्यू 0.5 से कम होती है उसको हम हटा देते हैं। तो आइगन वैल्यू का जो पर्पस होता है, टू रिटेनिंग दी फैक्टर्स, कि हाउ मेनी फैक्टर वी शुड रिटेन, एंड और कम्युनिटीज का क्या पर्पस होता है, टू कि हाउ मेनी वेरिएबल्स वी शुड रिटेन, और किन को रिमूव करना, ये होता है। ठीक है, चलिए अब मैं आगे चलता हूं। स्क्वायर ऑफ फैक्टर लोडिंग, ये देखो ना भाई, ये जो फैक्टर लोडिंग है प्रवीण, ये आप कंपोनेंट मैट्रिक्स देख रहे हैं ना, 0.536 वर्टिकली, when you square the factor loading and add, you will get the eigen value. Horizontally, when you square the factor loading and add, you will get communities। ये बस सीधा सीधा डिफरेंस है इसमें। ठीक है, इज इट ओके प्रवीण, आगे चलें? ओके ओके, थैंक यू। अब मैं देखिए आगे, नो नो, हु सेड सिद्धार्थ 2 फैक्टर कहां, 3 फैक्टर ही तो है भाई। ये देखो ना, 1 कंपोनेंट, 2 कंपोनेंट, 3, 2 कहां कह रहा हूं मैं, 3 फैक्टर भी तो कह रहा हूं भाई। ये वाला देखिए आप, ये स्क्रिप्ट प्लॉट भी देख लीजिए, ये देखिए 1 कंपोनेंट, 2 कंपोनेंट, 3 कंपोनेंट, तीन कंपोनेंट ही तो मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया है। पहले का नाम आफ्टर सेल सर्विस, सेकंड मार्केटिंग, एंड थ्री जो है हमारा प्रोडक्ट वैल्यू। ठीक है सिद्धार्थ, ओके थैंक यू। चलिए अब मैं देखिए आगे बढ़ता हूँ, क्योंकि ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है हमारा इसका मीडिएशन एंड मॉडरेशन। तो पहले मीडिएशन लेंगे। मीडिएशन इसकी पहले पीपीटी पहले समझ लें कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है, व्हाट इज मीडिएशन। Now you can see the mediator variable. Mediator variable is the middleman हाँ रवि, यस, आफ्टर फाइंडिंग दी, अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा आपने रवि। देखो इसमें हम क्या कर सकते हैं कि आफ्टर अप्लाइंग दी फैक्टर एनालिसिस हो सकता है वी ऑब्टेन 4 or 5 फैक्टर्स, then after getting the 4 or 5 factors we will identify which one is dependent means which one is endogenous factor and which one is exogenous means independent। उसके बाद फिर जो है उस फैक्टर में we can use the independent t test, ANOVA, रिपीटेड में वो पेयर टी टेस्ट भी हम लगा सकते हैं उसमें, अगर एक से ज्यादा डेटा बार कलेक्ट किया है। प्लस इसमें वी कैन अप्लाई मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस ऑल्सो, कि जो फैक्टर हमारे पास आए ना, एक फैक्टर में 3 या 4 क्वेश्चन, वी विल टेक मीन वैल्यू ऑफ ऑल दी 3 और 4 फैक्टर्स, वो हमारे पास वेरिएबल आ गया। अब वो फैक्टर हमारे वेरिएबल बन गए हैं फैक्टर ही। देन यू कैन अप्लाई मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस, इंडिपेंडेंट टी टेस्ट एंड एनोवा। देखिए जो भी रिसर्चेज आप करते हैं, मैक्सिमम जो सोशल साइंस, जो भी हमारे सोशल साइंस के स्टूडेंट रिसर्च करते हैं उसमें जनरली इंडिपेंडेंट टी टेस्ट लगाते हैं कंपेयरिंग के लिए, एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस टू आइडेंटिफाइंग द फैक्टर्स, impact of factors on outcome variable we use multiple regression analysis, compare more than 2 categories we use ANOVA। बस मैक्सिमम तो यही 4-5 टेक्निक्स ज्यादा लगाते हैं, एंड एडवांस में स्ट्रक्चरल इक्वेशन मॉडलिंग या मीडिएशन मॉडरेशन टेक्निक भी हम यूज कर सकते हैं। ठीक है, चलिए now the mediation in regression, so we can perform through process macro also, because in a mediation in regression, so when we use the mediation technique in SPSS, it is long process, थोड़ा बड़ा लंबा है, but in process macro it is add on, so add on software of this, इसमें थ्रू प्रोसेस मैक्रो वी कैन इजीली इसको कर सकते हैं। बट सबसे पहले हमें ये कॉन्सेप्ट समझना, व्हाट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द मीडिएटर। मीडिएशन है क्या? मीडिएशन, मीडिएटर वेरिएबल इज द मिडिल मैन between an independent variable and dependent variable. It's a middleman. It is it affect the dependent and independent variable. With the presence of mediator variable, the relationship between independent and dependent variable change और ineffective और insignificant बन जाती है। कैसे? देखिए, where in the first case the relationship between two variable, dependent and independent variable, it is significant। okay, it means the particular variable, ये देखिए मैं इस केस स्टडी से इसको एक्सप्लेन करूंगा। the academic performance in this case study, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, so there are 3 variable: y academic performance, इंटेलिजेंस क्वोशिएंट एंड सेल्फ स्टडी। ये हमें मालूम है देयर इज ए पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन बिटवीन द IQ एंड एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस। द एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस हाई दोज हु हैव हाई IQ लेवल, ये सब जानते हैं। बट व्हेन वी इंक्लूड द सेल्फ स्टडी, नाउ यू कैन सी हियर द सेल्फ स्टडी। Self study is a mediator variable. Self study. Now this IQ become insignificant, non-significant. Why? Self study tell us it's a mediator variable. If your IQ level is high and you do not devote time to study, your study time 0, so what will be the performance? 0 हो जाएगी आपकी performance. If your IQ level is high and you devote more time to the self study, your academic performance would be high. So alone this IQ level not influencing the academic performance, but other independent variable also influence the relationship between IQ and academic performance. अब इसमें देखिए, इसमें होता क्या है, मीडिएशन में तीन तरीके की चीजें आप देख सकते हैं कि वन इज जो ये हमारा है कि मीडिएशन में फुल मीडिएशन मींस कि आफ्टर एडिंग द इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल, ये मीडिएटर वेरिएबल भी इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स ही होते हैं. So this is our independent variable with the presence of this mediator variable, the relationship become the insignificant or non-significant. It is known as full mediation. फिर एक होती है partial mediation मतलब ये इसकी प्रेजेंस में it is significant रहता है, it is known as partial mediation. And third is no mediation. No mediation means there is no impact of this mediator variable. So मैं एक एक करके तीनों की एक केस स्टडी से पहले इसको मैं परफॉर्म करूंगा और फिर इसको बताऊंगा. तो सबसे पहले हम इसको जो mediator का भी कॉन्सेप्ट हम समझ लें, how to find the mediator. Okay. Now okay Nimmi. Now the mediator, yes, mediation. Now you can see the mediation. Yeah, mediation is a hypothesized causal chain in which one variable affects second variable, that in turn affects a third variable. The intervening variable M is the mediator. This M, you can see it is a mediator. It mediates the relationship between predictor and outcome variable. What is predictor variable? X. Outcome variable Y. अब देखिए ये मैं इसका सीधा assumptions तो same है, all the assumptions, yes. So I come directly to the Baron and Kenny and James and Brad discussed 4 steps of establishing mediation. So how will you find whether your data in your model mediation impact or not? So he suggested 4 ways to check whether mediation exists or not. In the first step, so the show that the causal variable is correlated the outcome variable. So the Baron and Kenny suggested 4 steps. In the first step, the Y as the dependent variable and X as independent variable. This step established there is an effect that may be mediated. Kaise? How to find it? Now you can see when I conduct a simple regression analysis. So this is our independent variable. Okay. In the fourth and this Y outcome variable and this mediator variable. In the fourth stage, in the first step, this is step 1. The relationship between the dependent and independent variable should be significant. The relationship, it's our simple regression analysis, bivariate regression analysis, XIV independent variable. The relationship between X1 and Y should be significant. It means P value should be less than 0.05 when we simply finding the relationship between X and Y. Okay. The second case, this relationship X and mediator variable. In the step 2, what should we do? In the step 2, the Y outcome variable, X independent variable, and M mediator variable. Now the relationship between the mediator variable and independent variable IV should be significant. It means its p value should be less than 0.05. So the relationship between independent variable and mediator should be significant. And the third step, uh, uh, the relationship between mediator variable, the mediator variable y x and y. In the third condition or third step, the relationship between mediator and outcome variable should be, relationship between mediator and dependent variable should be significant. It means p value should be less than 0.05. And the fourth condition is step 4. Conduct the multiple regression analysis. The y, that is outcome variable, and x independent variable, and m mediator variable. Now we are performing the multiple regression analysis. Multiple regression analysis means y dependent variable and x1 and m, xn and m independent variables. M means mediator. I told you mediator also independent variable. Now the relationship between, now we should keep in mind the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable should be non-significant. It should be, the relationship between this and this should be non-significant, means p value should be greater than 0.05. So this is my so the before the adding the mediator variable, the relationship between dependent and independent variable should be significant. But after adding the mediator variable, the relationship between the x and y, it should be non-significant. When we now you can see here the y, x and m. So here this relationship x and y, it should be greater than 0.05. It should be non-significant. It means this mediator variable significantly working. It is creating the insignificant of this variable. It means there is no role of this independent variable with the presence of mediator variable. Full mediation. Now you can see the example of, I told you there are 3 types of mediation: full mediation, partial mediation, and no mediation. What is the condition of full mediation? Y outcome variable, x independent variable, and m mediator variable. In the first stage, step 1, the relationship between y and x, it should be significant, means p value between the 2 variables should be less than 0.05. Second, m and x, the relationship between m and x should be significant. So how will check significant? P value should be less than 0.05. Third step, y and m, so p value should be less than 0.05. Now we apply multiple regression analysis. Simultaneously we are taking 2 variable, independent variable and mediator variable. Now you can see the relationship between, when we apply the multiple regression analysis, this relationship should be non-significant and this should be significant. It means its p value less than 0.05 and p value greater than 0.05. ठीक है, 0.05 इसकी. Second case, partial mediation. What is partial mediation? This should be significant. देखिए y and x y and x and m. This is mediator variable. This should be significant. This should be significant. This should be significant. And after applying multiple regression analysis, if both the variables independent and mediator significant, it's a type of partial. It means it is not uh, making this ineffective. Still it is significant, so there is less impact on x. That is why this is known as partial mediation. And the third stage is the no mediation. In a no mediation, if either one step or two step or three step, if in any one step out of the three non-significant, ठीक है ना, non-significant, it means there is no mediation. So here the relationship between y and x non-significant, it means no mediation. This is the prerequisite. All the three steps should be significant, but here this is not significant. Okay, so I'm taking three case studies one by one. So first of all, I'm taking the case study of mediation, full mediation. Yes. Uh, uh, is it visible? Please inform me through chat box. Can you see it? Okay. ठीक है. Thank you. Now, in this case study, please, there are three variables. Y means academic performance. X means IQ, intelligence quotient, and M, mediator. This variable means self-study. It's a case of full mediation. In a full mediation, in the first step, it should be the significant. This should be significant. This should be significant relationship. But when we take x and y, x and m simultaneously and apply multiple regression analysis, it should be not significant and it should be significant. Okay, so case study, very simple. The academic performance depend on IQ level. We know your academic, if your IQ level high, your academic performance would be high. If your IQ level low, academic performance low. But the IQ level not the impact to the academic performance, but other variable also mediate this, and the name of this self-study. If your academic performance high, IQ level high, but you do not give a self-study time to self-study, performance low. If your IQ level low, but give more time to self-study, your academic performance would be high. So this IQ level does not only contribute to the academic performance, but self-study also contribute to academic performance. Now, how to perform? So I will use 4 steps. In the first step, I will find the relationship between academic performance and IQ level. Analyze, regression. I am using simple regression analysis. Analyze, regression, and linear. The academic performance dependent variable, intelligence quotient independent variable, and press this button OK. So okay, what is my model? Now I can see the output. In the output, the model summary that is 0.94, 89.3%. So there is no problem, model is fit. And p value, this ANOVA table tell us whether my model fit or not. So p value greater than less than 0.05, so there is no issue. Now the what is my main model? So my main model y equal to, y means academic performance. Academic performance equal to, so we should keep in mind when we are applying the either simple regression analysis or the multiple regression analysis, we report the result of unstandardized coefficient. Standardized ko nahi, so what is the value? 0.83 intercept 805 plus the IQ कितना है 1.195 and within bracket IQ. This is our unstandardized coefficient. Or standardized coefficient means beta, and this is our B1. So whether this 1.19 significantly contributing to this or not, will tell us this p value. And here p value less than 0.05. It means the IQ label significantly contribute to academic performance. The first step. Now I'm taking second step. So in a second step, I will check the relationship between independent variable and mediator. Now I'm checking the relationship, the analyze, and regression, linear, and reset the here self study as a dependent variable, IQ is independent variable, and then okay, now you can check whether the mediation, the relationship between independent variable and mediator variable significant or not, who will tell us the p value. So this self study, mediator variable, intelligence quotient, IQ, yes, this p value less than 0.05, it means there is no problem. Step 2 also good. Now we check the step 3. So step 3, step 3, okay, screen not visible. Okay. Is it visible? Can you see output? Okay, thank you, Yasha. Now you can see the whether the IQ significantly contributing to self study or not. Yes, this p value. So p value is less than 0.05, so there is no issue. Now we check relationship between mediator variable and dependent variable academic performance. अब देखिए इसको मैं करता हूँ. So I am taking, ठीक है, I think you can see this table. Now analyze 3 बार simple regression. We perform 3 times simple regression and 1 time multiple regression analysis. Analyze, regression, linear. Now the academic performance, dependent, self study, and then okay. Now we will check whether this difference significant or not. So ignite. Now we check the output. Yes, output you can see here, the self study and the academic performance, there is a p value. What is p value? P value less than 0.05. So in the step 1, p1 less than 0.05, step 2 less than 0.05, and step 3. Now we check the multiple regression analysis whether the IQ significant or not. So check it. If it is significant, it means partial relationship. I will take this case study also. Now I'm performing the IV not significant. Okay. After that, I will take your case. Yes. The third is, in the fourth step, we will perform multiple regression analysis. Now you can see the multiple regression analysis. Analyze regression linear and academic performance dependent variable, IQ and self study independent variables. And okay, now you can see the equation. Sorry, the output variable, output. You can see the output. In this output, what is my equation? My equation is the Y means academic performance. And what is my model? This is my model. Okay, minus 18.83 plus 0.317 and IQ plus 7.06 064 and what is self study. So it is multiple regression. This should be insignificant. This should be insignificant. Now what is the p value? P value greater than 0.05. So it is non-significant, and this value should be significant, self study, and it is 0.02. It means less than 0.02. So when your independent variable insignificant with the presence of mediator variable, it means it's a full mediation. Now we take the case of partial mediation. How will we why are we adding constant value? So there is no use of constant value here. But in a model, when we apply the multiple regression analysis, we take the intercept. It's a intercept, the constant value. Although there is no use of this intercept here, our purpose to check the significance level. If p value less than 0.05, so it means there is a significant impact. If p value greater than 0.05, it means non-significant. So here our purpose not to take the intercept, interpreting the intercept value or regression coefficient. Here our purpose to just check whether with the presence of mediator variable, the independent variable becomes insignificant or not. If it is insignificant, means p value greater than 0.05, then we can say there is a full mediation and mediator variable is working. Okay.
Sir, in this case, it is significant, right?
Yeah. What is your question?
Like in this case, it is significant. Like
Yeah.
the p value.
Yeah. Now you can see in this output, the self study is significant, but IQ not significant. IQ not significant. When I told you there are three cases in the full mediation, the independent variable should be not significant. It should be not significant. So if it, okay. Now, okay. Now I'm taking where the independent variable significant. The second case study where the partial mediation. Okay. So partial mediation, I'm taking the case of partial mediation. Yes. Partial mediation, you can see this data set in this case study. In this case study, so there are three variables. Y means SBP, systolic blood pressure. SBP, systolic blood pressure depend on age. Okay, as your age increase, your blood pressure also increase. But I told you age not only the factor to increase the your blood pressure, but weight also, weight also impact. So we will check whether this weight is significant for this model or not. When it will be significant, when the relationship between age and SBP non-significant. Okay, if it is not significant, age and SBP with the presence of weight, it means full mediation. But if still it is significant, it means partial mediation. Partial mediation. Okay. So in a partial mediation, all the 4 steps, p value should be less than 0.05. So I'm performing it one by one. Analyze, regression, and linear. Systolic blood pressure and age. And then, okay, what is the relationship? So we will check only p value. Okay. So you can see here p value, whether it is significant or not. So is it significant or not? Please see this table. Age, significant or not? P value. What is the p value? P value क्या है बोलिए? What is the p value? Significant. Yes. Yes, Nimmi, you are right. Yes, Rajiv, Akansa, Amit, Sweta,
Yes.
Valamithi. Yes, you are right. Okay. Now p value is significant. The second step we perform when we take the age and weight. Okay, as age increase, weight increase or not? I think it is, as you're in a certain age, when your age increase, weight also increase. So we want to check it. In the second step, you can see mediator variable and independent variable, analyze, regression, and linear. Okay, and linear. So weight, age independent, and weight dependent. Okay, and then okay. Now again, we will check whether age significantly contributing to weight or not. So here, what is the p value? P value less than 0.05. It means age significantly contributing to weight. Okay, now we check the third stage. The third stage means weight and BP, systolic blood pressure. So here again we apply the regression analysis, regression linear. Now you can see weight as a independent variable, systolic blood pressure as a dependent variable, and okay. In the third step, whether the relationship between significant or not, mediator and the systolic blood pressure, you can check it through. Is it significant? If significant, please explain what it means then. Okay. So it means, for example, basically in a simple regression analysis, there are 2 variables, sales and advertising expenses. So you know that it's a relationship y and x, beta 0 plus beta 1 x. It means now whether advertising expenses, your expenses on advertising increase the sales or not. Okay, so as a decision maker, if you think advertising expenses increase sales, so how will you decide? Through this model. So if p value of the regression coefficient less than 0.05, it means there is a positive, there is a significant relationship between the two variable. Significant means you can see the, for example, जैसे मैंने बताया कि whether if you want to check the impact of sales promotion means discount, more discount, more sale, less discount, less sale. So how will we say, how will we generalize whether this particular independent variable significantly changing the outcome variable or not? Through p value. So p value decide. Okay, sir, is it clear? Okay, thank you, Safi. Okay, so so it is significant. Now I am applying multiple regression analysis. Multiple regression analysis to check whether both the independent and mediator are significant or not. So in a partial regression, partial mediation, both independent variable and mediator variable should be significant. Okay, chaliye. Now we perform it. I'm applying multiple regression analysis. Analyze regression linear. And now the fourth step, systolic blood pressure, independent variable, age and mediator, age and weight, mediator weight, independent variable as independent variable, and okay. Now we check the relationship between the two. So what is my model? Yes, this is my model. In this model, why we present this model in our research paper? Minus 28.046 plus 2.16 age and plus 0.49 and weight. Whether this is significant or not, what is the p value? 0.05. P value less than 0.05. It is significant. What is this? Whether this is significant or not, what is the p value? 0.05. It is less than 0.05. When all the stages values significant, like y outcome variable, x independent variable, and m mediator variable. So we found in the first step significant, second step significant, third step significant, and in fourth stage both the independent and mediator significant. It's case of partial mediation. Partial mediation means with the presence of this mediator variable, it is not controlling this independent variable, still this independent variable working. So this is a case of the partial mediation. Now the last case study of mediation. After this we will start the moderator. Now I will perform it through process macro also. Okay, then the no mediation. What is the case? No mediation. Yes, no mediation. In a no mediation, sorry, no mediation, it's a case study. No mediation. The whether mediation variable working or not, the buying behavior, buying petrol, whether buying petrol depend on the news article. It is categorical article, and the buying सॉरी, ये बाइंग बाइंग फिर से बना लेता हूं इसको मैं. So the outcome variable buying behavior, buyer behavior, and buying, sorry, article in newspaper, article in newspaper, independent variable, and mediator variable buying petrol. Okay. So whether the article in newspaper, because it is essential goods, buying petrol, whether there are two options, the article written or news written front page, and inside the page. Okay, so there are two situations. So whether this news affect the buying behavior or not, because it is essential period. Okay, so how to check it? Whether this buying petrol mediate the buying behavior or not. If because it is, I told you, it is essential product. If the cost price of the petrol increase or decrease, there is no impact of buying behavior. Everybody will buy because it is essential goods. So I am performing the impact of petrol. Regression, linear, the buying behavior, and article in newspaper, because it is categorical variable. So I should use, instead of regression analysis, I should use the independent t-test, analyze the compare means, independent t-test, article in newspaper, the coding 0 and 1, and continue buying behavior, whether it is significant or not. We will check it. The p-value, yes, it is significant. This difference is significant. Okay, so now we check with the other variable, buying petrol and article in newspaper. So again, I am performing the independent t-test, compare means, independent t-test, because buying petrol dependent variable and article in newspaper independent. So put 0 and 1 and then continue. After continue, okay. So what is the whether buying petrol depend on news? Yes, you can see here there is no impact. P-value greater than 0.05, because it is greater than 0.05. Its value 0.621. Its p-value greater than 0.05. It is there is no impact of the article, whether it is in front page or the front page or inside the page. Not significant. I told you we will perform 4 steps. If any step 1, step 2, step 3 not significant, it means there is no mediation. We do not need to perform step 3rd and 4th. So on the basis of the second step, we can say there is no mediation. Okay, now question is same thing. देखिए इसमें now we take many steps to perform the this the mediation effect, but now question is, can we perform it directly through other technique? Yes, we can we can use directly. ठीक है? And one more thing, we can apply Sobel test also. जैसे देखिए Sobel test, Sobel test basically tell us whether the coefficients we apply the Sobel test. What is Sobel test? I explain it. So I'm taking previous case study full mediation. Yes. In this case study, I'm performing to Sobel test. Sobel test basically tell us about the significant, whether the direct and indirect effect significant or not. So through Sobel test, we check the total effect, total effect, total total effect. So total effect means direct effect plus indirect effect. What does it mean, direct and indirect effect? Direct effect means in this case study, what is academic performance dependent variable and the IQ level independent variable and self study mediator variable. Direct total effect means direct effect. It is the direct effect. Direct effect means we are not taking mediator variable, and indirect effect means this indirect effect. So direct effect we can identify through the p value 0.05. So for full mediation, this direct effect, when you finding the total effect, the direct effect should be not significant. It should be not significant. Okay, this is our indirect effect. This is indirect effect. So direct effect not significant and indirect effect should be significant. Now question is how to apply the uh, the Sobel test. So we use online computer to check the Sobel test. In a Sobel test, we have the value of A. A means the output value 0.1, 0.124, and standard error value of 0.009, and value of B 7.064, and SB equal to 1.98. Now question is ye value, how did we get these value? So this is our the outcome variable Y, this one X, and this mediator, and the relationship between the two. So the value in the step 2, when we perform the it is our, now you can see in the step 2, when we find the relationship between this is A and this is B. Okay, so B nothing but regression coefficient. This is also regression coefficient, and we find the standard error value of this relationship. कैसे हमने फाइंड की है? तो ये देखिए फ्रॉम द आउटपुट, जो अब ये पहले आउटपुट किया है हमने, सॉरी एक मिनट, आई एम शोइंग यू how did we obtain these values. So the simple regression, yes, the first step relationship between IQ and first relationship IQ and the IQ and academic performance, and IQ, and second relationship IQ and IQ, predictor IQ, and dependent variable self study. Okay, ये देखिए now from this yes, IQ self study and IQ, it is self study, ये IQ and academic performance, 3 वेरिएबल्स हैं, देखिए मैं उसको फिर से रिपीट कर रहा हूँ. द IQ independent variable and the other variable name, academic performance and self study. So we will take this relationship. From this relationship we will obtain the value a and standard error. अब ये देखिए कैसा है, IQ and self study. Yes, so here from this table you can see from this table we obtain the value of standard error. What is the value of standard error? Point this SA. What is the value of SA? 0.009. Okay, and what is the value of A? This 0.124. Okay, and we need value of B and value of standard this. So from the multiple regression analysis we will obtain, yes, this is multiple regression. Yes, from this table we will obtain the value of B. So what is the value of B? 7 point, this is the value of 7.064. and what is the standard error value? 1.984. 1.9984. So through Sobel test, this is our the variable academic performance, IQ level and self study. So IQ, so this is direct effect. It is direct effect, and the indirect effect means this is indirect effect. This is indirectly. So this indirect effect, direct effect we can find just checking the relationship between two variables, but indirect effect we will check through the Sobel test. Indirect effect, for whether indirect effect significant or not, we will check through the Sobel test. So it is a online calculator. How to calculate? I am just calculating the online Sobel test. You can type the Sobel test online calculator. I am showing you the online Sobel test calculator. Yes, you can see free Sobel test calculator for signification of mediation. Okay, now you can see this Sobel test. So Sobel test calculator, you just put all the values here. This is our you can see the what is the A value. So A means point A means, now you can put the value A. A means regression coefficient 0.124, and the regression coefficient of the other variable 7.064, and then standard error of the first case 0.009, and standard error of 1.984, and then calculate. And after calculating, we will obtain the result, whether indirect effect is significant or not. Yes, you can see. So the p value 0.002 less than 0.05. So this relationship indicates significant relationship because p value less than this. So ये जो relation, sorry, okay, now you can see this screen. I think it is visible now. This p value, it's a, you can see the impact of mediator variable, the independent variable indirect effect is significant and direct effect is not direct effect not significant. ठीक है ना, लेकिन इसमें now we it's a lengthy process. No, you are right, Rajiv. Actually, direct effect in the all the 4 steps we found direct effect. Indirect effect means multiplication of the step 2 and step 3. So indirect effect we cannot find out. So whether, because in both the total effect means direct effect, the relationship between y and x. Indirect effect means relationship between x and y through mediator variable. So through mediator variable it is indirect effect. So direct effect we can the total effect means direct effect plus indirect effect. So direct effect should be insignificant and indirect effect should be non-significant. Although we performed through the multiple regression analysis, the result are same. So when we perform the multiple regression analysis, you are right in this sense. So the direct effect, the relationship between independent variable and dependent variable insignificant with the presence of this. But we should, yes. Now the same thing, it is very easy to perform through process macro. Kuch nahi, we do not need to perform so many things. We just भाई बहुत लंबा क्वेश्चन पूछा, आकांक्षा, does the different scale data affect the test we are using for mediation? I told you, Akansa, data should be metric. Don't use non-metric data for mediation and moderation. Means the condition may be different. You can use categorical data also, nominal scale data. I will discuss in a moderator variable for categorical data. But in a mediation, you can use both the type data, metric and non-metric also. In the third case, I used non-metric data. There are the news inside the page or outside the. We are using mediation. Example, if we are using categorical continuous data, then whether we have to change test or convert the data. No, we do not need to change the data. We will change the test, because in a multiple, although if my independent variable categorical, I can apply simple regression analysis, but I need to convert my nominal data into dummy variable. So it is a long process. So it is better to apply independent t-test. Result will be same. Second question, if you are using different number of Likert scale, this and 7 point another scale, yes. Now you need to standardize the scale in the Akansa. You need to standardize the scale. So how to standardize the scale? Because now I am performing how to standardize our scale. You just go to analyze, descriptive statistics and descriptive. Now you can see here. So convert all the three variables, transfer all the three variables, and here you can see the save standardized value as variable. So if your variable in different scale, then you can get the standardized data, or you can see this data standardized form. Now it is standardized. Okay. Okay. Now I am performing through this process macro. So process macro very easy. We do not need to perform 4 or 5 steps. We just directly perform the process macro. How to do it? The same case study, whether the full mediation or not. So analyze, regression and process. Okay, analyze, regression and process. This process macro given by Andrew Hayes. And then Praveen ji, you can standardize. Again, I'm repeating how to standardize the result. So you go to analyze, descriptive
No, sir,
status.
I'm asking that
Yes.
how it is. I know the question, but how can we say that it is standardized?
No, no, it's a देखिए ये in a SPSS ये processes में SPSS में otherwise manually if you convert it will take time. So you go through the book here Anderson how to standardize our data. उसमें जो ऑब्जर्वेशन का जो उसका एक फॉर्मूला है नाउ यू कैन पुट द फॉर्मूला एंड देन यू कैन स्टैंडर्डाइज योर वेरिएबल बट हियर you can standardize through this analyze descriptive statistics and describe ठीक है now you can transfer all the variable and then the save as standardized value as a variable it's a criteria to standardize the result ठीक है
Okay, sir.
okay now I am performing it through the okay अब देखिए
Okay.
I think now I don't need only three variables although if your data uh, not standardized so you should standardize your variables otherwise result will be different okay now I am performing the process macro go to analyze regression process okay in a process macro so there are three variables so three variables then you just transfer the variable the first is the academic performance into because it is dependent variable and IQ it is X variable self study as a mediator variable so you transfer here and there are model number one because mediation and moderation more than 100 models it is very big concept so you choose the model number 4 and then press this button about nothing to do optional show all show total model effect show total model effect model and then continue after continue long variable and long variable means if your variable name is long like the academic performance more than 8 character then you can tick this option and then continue after continue okay so I am showing you the results it takes time only 1 or 2 minutes yes देखिए now in this process macro now question is how to देखिए इसमें कुछ नहीं किया it is very simple you just put all the value in a dialog box and then you can perform it so model number 4 the model 4 this is our you can see the dependent variable academic performance independent variable IQ self study this so the R square 91.31% it is good and then the IQ level and self study this is IQ and self study it should be significant whether it is significant yes the p value less than 0.05 now we check the other relationship the outcome variable academic performance AP and there are two variable IQ and self study okay IQ and self study IQ level should be insignificant yes it is greater than 0.05, this greater than 0.05, and this should be significant. P value should be less than 0.05. Yes, it is significant. Okay, so then after that, direct total effect. Total effect means this is our uh, academic performance, IQ, and self-study. This is our direct effect. Direct effect. Indirect effect means this is our indirect effect. Indirect effect. So direct effect should be insignificant. So total effect, direct effect, not significant. The P value greater than 0.05. And what is indirect effect? Indirect effect here, this is P value less than 0.05. But here P value is not given. So how will we decide whether P value significant or not? So here you can see both lower level confidence interval, both upper level confidence interval. When both the value lower level confidence interval and upper level confidence positive, or both the value negative, it means P value less than 0.05. So here both the value less than, sorry, both the value positive, so indirect effect is this. So it is very easy. We do not need to perform the the process macro. Okay, why model number 4? Okay, Siddharth, you are right. So I am trying to give the answer. मैं भी आपका कोशिश कर रहा हूँ आंसर का. सवाल आपका अच्छा है. क्यों हमने लिया why model 4? Why not other model? You are right. एक मिनट बस मैं एक फाइल खोल लूं, उसके बाद मैं आपको बताऊंगा क्यों हमने ये मॉडल लिया, दूसरा मॉडल क्यों नहीं लिया. Data set, model, background, entering his city book, basic statistics, mediation, moderation. Yes, yeah, moderation. Yes. Siddharth, you can see this template. In this template, so I told you the process macro, it is more than 100 models right now. Now these are the possibilities. You can see the where the one moderator variable, other variable, you can see here the W, then the conceptual model X and Y, and this. Now question is, why did I take the model number 4? So this is my model number 1. So model number 1 used for moderator variable. Moderator variable. I'll explain difference between the mediator and moderator after this. And then model number 4, model number 2, model number 3, model number 4. This is my mediation. So for mediation, the diagram of the mediation is this. That is why I choose the model number 1 and model number 4 and model number 1, the Y and X and this moderator variable. It is model number 1. So model number 1 apply for moderation, and model number 4 use for mediation. Okay, so ये इसका and one book written by the Andrew Weiss, you can check. We have shared that book, Andrew Weiss, so you can go through that book in detail. ये these are the models, very complex model है, बहुत ज़्यादा. So we are taking only introductory part of this. Is it okay? Siddharth, is it okay? Okay, okay. Thank you. Now I perform. Safi, is it okay? Rahimullah, Safi.
Yes sir, thank you sir. Yes sir.
अच्छा, आज आपको वो समझ में आ गया है EFA या मीडिएशन जो हमने किया है?
Yes sir.
ठीक है, थैंक यू. और अगर ना भी समझ में आए तो हम शेयर कर देंगे अपना मोबाइल नंबर, और जो बाद में भी आप कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं हमसे, ठीक है? ओके,
Thank you sir. Thank you sir.
ओके, थैंक यू सर. नाउ I come to the moderator. Moderation, what is moderator? Categorical moderation. Moderator 2. Yes, this is moderator. Now the moderation, the categorical moderator. The concept of moderation, please understand the concept of moderation. So the moderation, okay, screen not visible. I am performing. Yes. Is it visible now? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now what is moderator variable? Now question is, what is the, now you can understand the difference between moderator and mediator, mediation. Now moderator variable, this moderator variable influence, please see the definition. Moderator variable influence the strength or direction of relationship between independent and dependent variable. The direction, this moderator variable change the relationship. For example, if the relationship between the two independent and dependent variable significant and beta value 0.9, then with the presence of this mediator variable, it change the direction. It means it may be change direction, and it may become the insignificant with the presence of this moderator, or it can change or strength of the relationship. Here you can see the strength. If beta is 0.9, so it can, this moderator variable can reduce it 0.3. It's just like a gas stove. It can change the strength of the relationship between. You can change the flame of the stove. You can increase or decrease. Same as moderator variable, change the strength of moderator, the independent variable and dependent variable relationship. Now here the two types of a moderator variable. One is your moderator variable, the categorical variable. Okay, categorical variable means the this moderator variable you take as the categorical variable, male and female, while both the dependent and independent variable continuous. Okay, so your one is your moderator variable categorical, and second is your the second is your moderator variable continuous. But generally we want to check impact of this categorical variable. So Monitor variable basically, now in this I'm taking the one Porter's theory of job satisfaction. Porter theory of job satisfaction. What does it? What this theory tell us? In this case study, employee turnover depend on job satisfaction. What does it mean? It means the employee turnover depend on job satisfaction. High job satisfaction, employee turnover will be low or high. Batao, please inform me. If you are more satisfied, employee turnover will be high or low? Please write in the chat box.
Yes, it would be right.
Low. Yes, you are right. Absolutely right. You no, Sweta, you are wrong. Sweta, low. Yes. Safiq, Rahmat, you are right. Sweta, are bhai, Sweta, job satisfaction high, employee turnover means more people are leaving the job. So in more people are leaving the job, employee turnover high means. Okay, understood, Sweta? Okay, thank you, Sweta. So employee turnover means highly job satisfied. You are highly job satisfied, then low employee turnover. You will not leave the job. Low job satisfaction, highly employee turnover. Okay. Now, so there is a categorical variable job performance. High job performer and low job performer. So we will check 2 times for the relationship job satisfaction and employee turnover for low job performer, and the relationship between job satisfaction and employee turnover with high job performance. Okay, so we want to check whether job satisfaction significantly contribute to employee turnover or not, whether this job performance, whether this condition same for low job performer or high job performer. So there may be possibility that low job performer highly dissatisfied, that is why they leave the organization. High job performer highly satisfied, employee turnover low. So it is not generalized for all. So the job satisfaction and employee turnover, the relationship significant only for low job performer. Okay, now question is how to perform it through process macro. I am performing it. Categorical moderator, no. 1 point mediation, 2.2 is yes. Now can you see this slide? Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now there are three variables. The variable number one, okay, the variable number one, outcome variable, that is employee turnover, and variable number two, job satisfaction, and third variable, it is the job performance. So we took 6 people whose job performance low job performer. So we took 6 people whose job performance low, and 6 people whose job performance high. Okay, so basically we want to compare whether the relationship between job satisfaction and employee turnover same for both or different. So I'm performing process macro. Go to analyze, regression, and process. Okay, and then employee turnover, it is dependent variable. So please transfer here. Job satisfaction, independent variable, transfer X variable. Job performance, moderator variable. So please transfer here. And now by default it is model number 1. So because I told you for moderation we use model number 1. So no need to change it. Now press this button, about, nothing to do here. Then options, nothing to do here. In the second, the moderation, because in a moderation we want to know the interaction effect. Basically it is a moderation means interaction. And then model number 1, then continue, and after continue, multi categorical, nothing to do here. Long variable name, yes, you can tick here, and then continue, and after continue, okay. Now you will see the output. Yes. Now you please see this output, interpretation of this output. So what was the sample size? Now you can see here the dependent variable employee turnover, job satisfaction independent variable, job performance moderator variable. Okay. Now the outcome variable is employee turnover. This, sorry, employee turnover. Employee turnover, it is outcome variable. And what is the R square value? It should be greater than 60%. So it is 67.94, and it should be significant. P value less than 0.05. So there is no issue in this model. Now this model you can see the job satisfaction job satisfaction, it is significant. Job performance, it is significant. And interaction effect, it is also significant. Okay, what does it mean? So your employee turnover, and the variable job employee turnover and job satisfaction, this is one variable. We check statistically the one is the job performance. Statistically we can write moderator as this, and the third variable job satisfaction and job multiplication of job performance, this. So here this value significant, p value less than 0.05, p value less than 0.05, and this interaction, this is interaction term, it should be p value less than 0.05. Okay, 0.05. Now we check for high job performer and low job performer, whether this interaction same for high and low or not. Okay, so we check it through product term, sorry, yes, the product xj. So there are two, you can see. 0 means low performer, 1 means high job performer. So what is the p value? Yes, p value less than 0.05. I told you there are two types of equation. The low job performer, we want to check the relationship job satisfaction and employee turnover. Whether this significant or not, high job performer, job satisfaction, and employee employee turnover, employee turnover. So whether this significant or not, this p value, what is the p value? Less than 0.05, less than 0.05. It is significant for low job performer. Low job performer highly dissatisfied and they quickly leave the organization. Employee turnover high only for low job performer. Whether it is correct for high job performer or not, this you can see it is not significant. It means high job performer more satisfied, that is why they less leave the job. Okay, so this is the small concept of the